Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Cam Jennings coming at you on behalf of EpicConversions.com. Hope you're doing well out there. Today I want to talk to you about perfection. Now, if anything I say resonates with you today, make sure you get over to EpicConversions.com, sign up for my free newsletter. And as much as I want to try to give you a little bit of value here today, I don't believe I put out my best free content by random walking video with my phone. So anyways, I suggest getting over to EpicConversions.com, signing up for my free newsletter. I like to think I put my best free content out by email. I email my list about 3 to 6 times a week. Today I want to talk to you about perfection though. There's 2 reasons why people fall in love with perfection. 1, they have an unnatural obsession with being perfect. Essentially, it's internally motivated. And I think a lot of that stems from fear. A lot of it stems from fear of actually putting yourself out there. You want it to be absolutely perfect before you put something out there. The second one is kind of really a branch off the first one, except it's a little bit more in your face. The second reason people fall in love with perfection is because of just a direct fear of what other people think. They are worried they're going to be judged. They are worried they're going to be judged by their customers, judged by their peers, judged by other people. So the reason they're trying to be perfect with their trainings, with their courses, with their content, it has less to do with serving other people and it has more to do with serving themselves. In my opinion, perfection is a vain pursuit. It really has no place in a successful online business, in my opinion. It's a vain pursuit. Realistically, no one is perfect. Trying to pretend to be perfect is, truly it's kind of an illusion. No. Vince Lombardi, one of the greatest football coaches and greatest leaders of men of our time, once said, "We will strive for perfection knowing that we will not reach it, but in doing so, we will achieve excellence." I love that. I love it. I'm about to poke holes all through that. Even though I love it and I believe it, yesterday I was talking to you about the spirit of advice and understanding there's nuance to advice and understanding that you can poke holes in any piece of advice. So even though Vince Lombardi said that, and I believe in it and I love it, the spirit of that was reaching for something greater than you even feel like you can achieve. And in doing so, you're going to achieve your best possible outcome. When I was in the Navy, we used to do these things called PRTs, physical readiness tests. We had to do them every 6 months. And they'd never tell us, now this is before the days of, where the internet was really popular, but they would never tell us what the minimums were to pass those tests. They'd only tell us what the excellent grade was, what the top level grade was. So that excellent grade was the only thing we'd have in our mind. That was the only numbers we would have to go on, right? So what I'm saying to you is that there's a lot of truth in what Vince Lombardi said and how they used to do things when I was in the Navy. It's good to aim for a really high benchmark. But that's not what I'm talking about when it comes to being in love with perfection. I'm not talking about aiming high, doing your best, and letting the pieces fall where they may. I'm talking about the kind of love with perfection that keeps you from getting stuff out because you don't feel like it's good enough. You're afraid other people are going to judge you, either directly or indirectly, because it all really comes back to that. It all really comes back to how you feel like you're going to be perceived by the market. So that's a lot different than what Lombardi said. One of those things is about aiming for perfection and doing your best and letting the pieces fall where they may, which I firmly stand behind. But the other one of those things is about paralyzing yourself, not getting things done, not getting things out because of some imaginary bar that you've set that you will never achieve, you will never attain. And it's convenient that you won't attain it because that keeps you safe. If you never have to put it out, you never have to worry. You're safe. Sure, you might feel bad about yourself for not getting it out, but you never have to be judged by anybody else, do you? But I'm telling you, that is the way of the coward. That is the way of the coward. The world's always going to judge you, whether you like it or not. There's always going to be someone to try to talk some smack to you. There's always going to be somebody out there. You got to stop worrying about what everybody else is doing. Stop worrying about what everybody else is saying. Do the best version of you that you can do. Sure, learn from other people. Learn from other marketers. Learn from other business people. Find inspiration in biographies. Find inspiration in books and audio trainings and writings. Learn from other people. Try to adapt some of what they do to what you do. But don't compare yourself to other people. And completely disregard them when they start judging you. So the idea of reaching for perfection and being in love with perfection because you're afraid other people are going to judge you. And let's be honest, that's what it really is about. Even if it's internal and you just are obsessed with perfection, why are you obsessed with perfection? If you're obsessed with perfection to the point where you're not getting stuff out, then that is a vain pursuit. You are worried about what other people are going to think. That's what I believe. Nothing you can say is going to change my mind about it. You're worried about what other people are going to think about your stuff. I don't care how much you say, I'm just obsessed with perfection. Yeah, you're obsessed with perfection because you're worried about what other people think. What I'm telling you is, you got to get your stuff out. And that takes imperfect action, That takes imperfect action. I've never really positioned myself as some kind of a guru, as somebody who knows everything under the sun. I know some things, and the longer I do this, the more things I know. But pretty much everything that I know, I've gotten from experience. Because when I read something that someone says and it resonates with me, I go out there and I try it, see what happens. Right now I'm experimenting with different, sales page styles, sales letter styles. I've been taking a lot of inspiration from people like Ben Settle and people like Dan Kennedy and, people of that nature. So I've just kind of been experimenting with it and seeing how it goes. But as far as perfection and thinking about perfection and thinking about how can I make this the most perfect, sales letter in the world? I don't think in those terms, To me, I feel like you put your best foot forward with stuff. And the important thing is with the product that you're putting out, whether it's a book or whether it's a course or whatever, the important thing to me is that it serves its purpose. I don't need it to be perfect. I just need it to do what I need it to do. If the course is designed to help someone solve a problem with traffic driving, Does my training do that? That's what I need it to do. Now, ideally, I want it to do that, and I want it to have a good USP. And by that, I mean I want it to approach that problem from a unique position. What is different about my thing compared to everyone else's thing? Because there's a million different products out there about driving traffic. What am I bringing to the table that's a little bit different, right? I want to know that before I put a product out there, right? And those are the two things I really need. I need it to solve a problem legitimately, and I need it to be a little bit different than other crap that's out there. That's what I need. I don't need it to be perfect. I need those two things. I need a decent USP. It doesn't have to be an amazing USP. I don't always have an amazing USP. Sometimes I have a decent USP. I can handle decent when it comes to USPs. I'm good on decent, you know? And I needed to solve a problem legitimately. Then when it comes to the sales page, my sales page, here's what it needs to do. I need to understand that I have a great offer. And then I need that sales page to convey that great offer properly. Because if I was excited enough to get off my lazy butt and create that product, then I know it's a good offer. I know it's good. It got me excited enough to make it. Now it's my job to convey that properly on the sales page. And it doesn't matter if I'm using my own style. It doesn't matter if I'm using a Dan Kennedy style. It doesn't matter if I'm using a Ben Settle style. It doesn't matter whose style I'm using on the sales page. Because I'm always experimenting with different styles on sales letters and sales pages. The point is it conveying the offer properly? You know? And everything else is window dressing as far as I'm concerned. You know? So that's kind of how I feel about perfection. I don't really care about perfection. I care about checking boxes. You know, I care about, I have a list of boxes. Again, you guys can probably see it, but just how I was talking just now. I have a list of boxes. I have a list of boxes that I need to check for every product that I put out. I have a list of boxes that I need to check for every sales letter that I put out, right? And if I'm checking those boxes, I'm good. It doesn't matter about the style of the sales letter. It doesn't matter about the style for product. I once did this product where I was just driving in my van. I was just driving around, and I set up a tripod on my dashboard, and I was talking while I was driving. I had some bullet points written out on index cards. I can't remember the name of that product. I wish I could, but I can't. I can't remember the name of the product. But the point is, that style, like I had things that I wanted to solve for people in that product, and I had bullet points written out. And I talked through those bullet points while I was driving, right? And then, like, I did this thing where, like, I drove to different places that were, like, important to me throughout my life. And I would tell, like, a little story here or a little story about this place or that place. And all that was just, like, for context, you know what I mean? But it all came together as this kind of concept course. But at the end of the day, I needed the course to solve a problem, and it did that, right? And then I needed the course to come from a unique selling proposition, and it did that. I used the car, and I used the different locations and stuff, and I added context in that way to make my thing a little bit different than everybody else's thing, right? But none of that has to do with running through perfect. None of it. It was not perfect. It was not perfect, but it solved a problem, and it approached it from a unique angle, right? So that's the boxes I want to check when it comes to products and anything, books, products, trainings, podcasts, whatever. And then with the sales letter, again, I got boxes I want to check off for the sales letter, and the sales page. And a lot of the other stuff doesn't matter to me. What matters to me is, am I getting these boxes? I have things that I think are important on a sales page. And I can tell you, in my opinion, when it comes to sales pages, it breaks down in 3 parts. The captivation element, the convincing element, and the purchase, and that's it. Check those 3 boxes, and those can present themselves in any way, shape, or form, whether I'm using my personal style, whether I'm using somebody else's style, just to change it up so my life's not boring, because I do this stuff for a living, and sometimes, it gets boring to do the same thing all the time. So anyways, that's what was on my mind today. Perfection. Just thinking about perfection, and it's not something that I have struggled with a lot, because I came to terms with the idea of not being perfect a long time ago. I've never worried too much about being perfect because I stopped worrying about what other people think about me a long, long time ago. I don't really care what people think about me. half these people don't know what the hell, is going on in the first place, And as far as how people think about you, let me tell you something. Half these people don't give a crap about you, and the other half, they want to see you fail. So stop worrying about what other people think and just do your best to get your shit done. Pardon my French. That's all I got. I'm getting too worked up now this morning. All right, you know what? I got to get off here. Listen, good luck out there. If this message resonates with you at all, you should join my email list. And if you don't join my email list, that's your problem, not mine. I'm at epicconversions.com. Peace.